DriveTime Exchange. As rubber hits the road, hard talk meets great music. Monday to Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. on NETT Radio, taking you above and beyond.
Well, that is exactly what we will be doing inside of this Drive Time Exchange here on your Era TT Radio, rallying around the West Indies. I want to say a very special good evening to everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you may be. And of course, thank you very much for being here. The heartbeat of the Caribbean as we take you above and beyond. This is the Drive Time Exchange on New Era TT Radio. And of course, this is where we are joined by none other than our journalist extraordinaire, Tony Fraser. Mr. Fraser, good day to you.
Good day to you, Charles. How is life today?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, I'm thankful for each and every day. Whatever it brings, I work along with it.
Right. We all of us who on this program this afternoon attempt to do that in our lives, but sometimes it's difficult. David Rudder is correct. We have to rally. Sometimes it seems as if our rallying is in vain. But nevertheless, we are hoping for the new. The two sets have gone, and we are waiting for the Dessalines and company to come. But it's been some time. So the years stretch by, and we sometimes are not aware of it. It's gone over 25 years that we have been in the bush, and hopefully when you reach the bottom of the line, like 27 all out, then there is no further distance lower than that you can go. So this program today was automatically called for. I had another discussion going on, but we had to put that off to another day to accommodate, our the people who comment on West Indies cricket, the people who love West Indies cricket, the people who have nowhere else to go but to support West Indies cricket. They're all here this afternoon. Some of them at least, and we are happy to have them. I haven't seen Reds Perreira just yet, but we're hoping that he will join us soon. We have Philo Wallace. I see him there. Welcome to the program. Philo is a former West Indian opening batsman. Welcome to the program, Philo.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thanks for having me on this program. West Indies cricket in crisis. Crisis is a serious word, huh?
Yeah, that's a good title for the program. Andre Lawrence, a former Trinidad and Tobago player and somebody who writes and comments on West Indies cricket and goes through the pain and suffering like all of us do. Welcome to the program, Andre, and thanks for participating again. And of course, Michael Findlay, a former West Indies wicket keeper, a former selector, a former chairman of the selectors, in fact, and a number of other things that he went along with. I'm sure this is Red scolding me. So let me start you going, and then I can talk to Red scolding me on the background. Where have we reached? Let me start with Mike. Mike, where have we reached, and where do we go from here?
Hey, Tony, I didn't hear you. Thanks for having me on the program, Tony. Hello, and Andre. Nice to see you guys again.
Hi, Mike. Nice to see you. Nice to see Andre as well. Good afternoon to all.
Yes, certainly. Good evening,
good
gentlemen.
To all our listeners, and I hope
great to see you both.
I hope Red will be able to join us.
Tony asked the question, where do we go from here?
Well, I don't know, because we seem to be going everywhere except where we're supposed to go. The point is, Philo and panel, is that we need a world-class team. We have 4 world-class bowlers. We have no world-class batsmen. In any team, you've got to have 2 or 3 world-class batsmen. If one fails, then you have 2 more you could depend on. Our batting seems to have gone totally now. The bowlers are doing well. Since that game in Australia where we beat Australia, the bowling was holding its own, and they're continuing to hold their own. To dismiss Australia for under 300 runs in 3 test matches is excellent. But then the batsmen can't make the runs. I remember saying on the second day of the match, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was concerned. And I said to him, well, we have to accept that if no matter what Australia gave us to make, I don't think we'll make it. And maybe I put bad mouth on the players because we didn't make the runs. But we need world-class batsmen.
But Michael, I want to differ with you. We played Australia last year. We beat them.
That's a one-off situation.
The one-man selection panel dropped 8 players from that squad.
I was coming to the
They hurt a guy. I get it straight to the point. I ain't beat around the bush. They got you dropped a guy called Calvin Hodge, the only middle order batter outside of Craig Bradford to score 100 in Test cricket. You dropped him to play white ball cricketers, and you're surprised. And you're telling me we want world-class batters? You just picked Kevlon Anderson, who scored 500 runs in our first-class season. We have to look at what we are doing at our territorial board levels. I don't know if you sit on that cricket committee for CWI. I would like to know, because I will cushion my language. But I think that we have gone the wrong road before cricket, and we are paying the price. One man cannot have all the power in our cricket. It is wrong, and you start wrong, you end wrong. You cannot release people from duties. You hurt Joshua De Silva, who I believe should have been the captain of this squad, because he showed good form in our first-class cricket. And if you can pick Kevlon Anderson, that means that Joshua De Silva could have gotten picked as well. So we've started badly. We've got rid of the players who we thought would have kicked on in our international cricket. We've dropped them by the wayside to bring white ball cricketers, because that is our mantra. And we've ended up being bowled out for 27 on a pitch that was offering something. And all of a sudden, we have 4 world-class bowlers and no batters. We don't have good policies to develop our cricketers. And that is my problem with CWI.
Well, thank you, Philip, but you didn't give me a chance to complete my
complete now, because I have other things
come
to
on,
complete.
Come on, you know, we so you agree that we don't have batsmen?
I don't agree with you. We have batters. but we don't have the right personnel to deal with them. We dropped the batters who were performing in Test match cricket. We dropped them. I thought they would have been given a chance against Australia, but we dropped them because these 3 Test matches, Michael, West Indies could have won these 3 Test matches if we batted properly, with common sense.
Of course.
Okay.
But
all right. So let's hear Michael finish his statement. Go ahead, Mike.
But the point I'm making, Philo, is that when we see the West Indies batsmen against Australia in these 3 matches, none of them seem to have adjusted to even the pitch played a little tricky at times. But the way a number of them got out, Philo, that's not how world-class batsmen got out. And we need, let's face facts. We do not have, you can disagree with me, but my view is that we need world-class batsmen to strengthen our team. The bowlers are encouraging. They have been doing their job in the last few things. But you tell me you dismiss Australia for 310 was 300 odd was the most runs they made in this series, and we couldn't make it. And we played on the same pitch. So we need, and I'm talking about throughout our cricket. It's been happening for a long time. There are a number of players who have talent and they come along, but they don't go on. They would start quite well and they get to the 30s and 40s and they're out. They're not batting long enough. They're making too many errors. They're throwing the wickets away. Those are not the signs of world-class batters. Absolutely not. And I think I agree with you with the fact that we need to go back, as it were, to the drawing board. I figure we need to go back to the primary schools and start to mold our cricketers when they're 7 and they're 8, and get them to understand the principles and get them to know what they must do to become world-class players. I think the school system has produced in the past and it will produce again. But like you said, they need a proper program. I don't agree with the selection panel. That selection committee has served West Indies cricket for years and it has done very well. I still don't understand now how it operates. I understand that I'm told that a number of people in the region are talent scouts, and they feed information into the coach, and virtually he makes decisions. That's what I understand it to be. I don't know if I'm correct in my understanding or if the information coming to me is what I'm relating now. But this is ridiculous. I agree with you with the fact that we drop some vital people. Let's look at the question of the captain and vice captain. Phil, in the past, and Andrew would know that too, but the selectors recommended the captain and vice captain based solely on their cricket ability, cricket including the other aspects of the game, not only on the field but off the field, their respect they got from the players and all that. Now, the principle of selecting a captain and vice captain is that both players must be able to command their place on the team. Now, the vice captain can't command his place on the team.
Well, Michael.
Okay, well, gentlemen, before we mix it up, let's get an opening statement from Andre. We have a lot of time, so that's not an issue. We're going to mix it up in a moment after these initial statements by each one of you. Andre.
Good afternoon, Tony, and to the listeners. Great to see you, Philo and Mike. Okay, so I think I have to agree very much with where Philo took the lead. As opening batsman, Philo, you started the ball, you started to play shots very early on, I noticed. Not unfamiliar from you. But
thank you, Andrew.
He was a shot maker.
Where it has all gone wrong is process. So over the past, let's say a year and a half, that's the timeline. We can go back to Brisbane when we beat this almost the very same Australian team in an exciting series down there where we drew the series. We've not done that for many, many years. Building on that, the same team came through and drew against Pakistan in Pakistan. Once again, something that's not been done for a very, very long time. During that period, we saw players like Amir Django being introduced into the team. You had Tevin Imlak also introduced to the team. You had, of course, Hodge and Athanaze, who's still trying to settle down as almost an all-format type player. So we're going through a development phase there, and we've been getting results where we've not gotten results before, or I should say in a very, very long time. So we saw where there were good things to look at. In between, of course, some generally tough times. We lost a series against England and South Africa in between that. But once again, with just the implementation of Sami as head coach and with the power to do so, with the one fell swoop of a pen, 7 or 8 players were omitted from that team that beat Australia in Brisbane just over a year ago. And what they've done with that is that all of the hard work and investment that they've done with those players over the last, say, 3-4 years has just gone to the wayside. What we've done is that we've taken not even world-class white ball cricketers, but mostly average white ball cricketers, in my view. And we expected them to turn out onto the park in a test cricket scenario, a test environment, and expect them to do well. I didn't expect it. I warned the public very much. I've had several interviews like this, and I said that unfortunately, I think we're going to see a little bit of chaos. Of course, I never wish for it, but exactly that transpired. We definitely headed on the wrong road.
Yeah. Now, as to going forward, and we're still trying to get in touch with Reds Perreira so he can be part of the discussion. But just let me throw out, I'm sure that everybody has seen it already, but for conversation's sake, the reaction of the West Indies Cricket Board to all that is happening. And in a release today, or was it last evening, whenever it was, they have outlined some plans they believe to be necessary to move from here. So just let me read a small part of it. The part they start off by moaning and groaning about the defeat, but then they came down to doing saying some things about what they're going to do. So let me read it. I don't want to read too long, but I'm getting the crux of what they plan to do. As an immediate step, this is the chairman talking, the president talking, Charlo that is, I have advised the chair of the Cricket Strategy and Officiating Committee to convene an emergency meeting to review the recent test series against Australia, particularly the final match. To strengthen the discussions, I have extended invitations to 3 of our greatest ever batsmen, Clive Lloyd, Vivian Richards, and Brian Lara. They will join past greats like Shivnarine Chanderpaul, Desmond Haynes, Ian Bradshaw, who already serve as part of the committee. This engagement is not ceremonial. These are men who helped define our golden eras, and their perspectives will be invaluable as we shape the next phase of our cricket development. We intend for this gathering to result in tangible, actionable recommendations. Consistent with my message over the last weeks, this is a moment that calls for collaboration, not division. We need everyone on board, fans, players, coaches, legends, administrators, if we are to be truly moving forward. So that's the gist of what the board says it will do. Gentlemen, react to the statement. Let's start with Phil Wallace.
All of a sudden, CWI wants to meet with the former players. 4 weeks ago on a radio program, the DOC told me he doesn't want any interference from anyone when they were here in Barbados preparing for that test, the first test match for this whole test series against Australia. And all of a sudden, you get bowled for 27, and now you're calling for help and ask people to come together as a collective. The committee chaired by Enoch Lewis has been put in place for a very long time. I don't know how many meetings they have. I don't know what discussions they have around cricket. But I think that when you look at how West Indies cricket is running, it is not running in the order in which it should be. I would like to see more of our former players involved. I would like to see the disbandment of this one-man selection panel and these talent scouts. I would like to see selectors come back into play and have a meaningful discussion around the talent of our cricketers. Because you can't tell me that at this critical juncture now, you're looking for help. The Test series is over. We've lost 3 games in the Test Championship already. We've lost 6 games in England, so we're 9-0 down into a new year. And now we're preparing for some white ball cricket. CWI has to understand that if they're going to do these things, they have to be on an ongoing basis rather than ad hoc. You can't call in the guys to help you today, and then you're there, you don't want them back for another 5 or 6 years. You need to have a consistent program to help build West Indies cricket and get them to understand and make decisions that will help West Indies cricket. And I think that's what they need to do. And I do wish them very well with this meeting, this emergency meeting that they've called. And I hope that they can shed some serious light and some serious discussions. I would like to see some younger people get involved as well in some of these meetings. I don't disrespect Sir Clive. We spoke this morning at length about it. Sir Andy Roberts called me at 7:30 this morning, and he told me it has to stop. So a lot of the former players are very upset of what is happening. And I hope that something comes out of this meeting. Because I tell you this, Tony, the last time they had a forum, it was called CARICOM at the Hyatt, CARICOM Cricket Discussion at the Hyatt 3 years ago. And nothing has come out of it. A lot of glory, people dressed in a lot of suits, and nothing has come out. There was supposed to be a report by CWI in collaboration with the CARICOM Secretariat. Not even one piece of paper has come out from that meeting. And I hope that this meeting, that we will know what were discussed, what the discussions were, and the action plans to move forward, and time frames as well. Because the time has come now that we are rock bottom, and we need to pick ourselves up with strong arms.
Yeah, Andre, a discussion, or not a discussion, well, I suppose a discussion you can call it, by 2 or 3 persons saying to the effect in one breath, we should simply drop out of Test cricket for the time being and get ourselves together before we attempt to seriously take on the challenges of playing in Test cricket today. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we need to disband the Test game and focus on, say, white ball cricket. I always believe that you have opportunity to continue to grow and develop while you are playing in a competitive environment. But we don't have the simply the right things in place. I think Philo is very correct. I think we have to disband that head coach one-man power scenario. Mike said it a little bit earlier. Our selectors have done us proud for many, many years. And why that should just be handed to one person, in essence, I'm totally in disagreement with it. But we must make some very serious decisions and make them right away. We made a decision very, very soon, a short while ago, and look at what has transpired in a very short space of time. A massive change, and not change for the better, unfortunately. It's been an atrocious performance by our batsmen in particular in this series, and therefore to arrest it as soon as possible, I think I would certainly make that call for a chief selector, and along with a team with a selection panel to deal with the selection of teams in West Indies cricket. I mean, I'll tell you, the players who have performed the very best in our regional tournament, for them just to be sidelined or not even looked at properly, you're basically telling those players that our competition is rubbish and your performances there don't matter. And that is something for me is wrong there. It has to be used as a guideline. Those players have got to be in and around that framework. Whether they get into a final 11 is always touch and go here and there. But I'll just use one name as an example. You have a player that was a vice captain in Joshua De Silva. He's been groomed over the last number of years in our A teams as captain of the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, coming through the system. He's your vice captain. He's been omitted in Pakistan, and then suddenly he's out of the framework altogether. Not even an opportunity to play in the A-team games leading up to the Test series. Completely omitted, just out of the picture altogether. And something like that, something as drastic as that, it's just got to be horribly wrong, and it's just another example of where we have reached, and we've got to arrest that as soon as possible.
Yeah. Mike Findlay, your reaction to the intended action as stated by the president of the West Indies Cricket Board, gathering these 3 or 4 players together to discuss matters as a means of going forward. Your reaction to that?
It is a question of whether or not anything is going to come out of that meeting. With due respects to the persons who are supposed to be on that panel, they can only make recommendations. It's the board who will have to accept these recommendations. I don't know, because if you what I'm concerned is that how could a board accept a recommendation from the cricket development officer, whoever, to disband the selectors? I can't conceive that. That is something which they should never have considered. They should have said to the proposals of that sorry, there's no point in doing this. Andrea is correct in that we need more of the established legends to direct our cricket. And I say direct meaning they can only recommend to the board. The board is the one who has to make the decisions. I remember a few years ago, we had a committee with more cricketers. And we had suggested to the board that because the matter was about cricket, that whatever recommendations the cricket committee made to the board should be accepted, because these are the people who have played the game at the highest level and who have done so successfully and who will have a lot to offer. But one member said to me, no, that is the preview of the board, you know. So it's a question of not letting go of the authority. So I think the need to go back to the selection process. I think the need to have on that cricket committee, because Enoch Lewis is now the chairman and he is a board member. So here you'll have a board member reporting to the board. This should be an independent committee of the board. Shouldn't have any board members at all. So it'd be an independent cricket committee which reports to the board its findings and makes recommendations. As it is now, this committee is part of the board and the board is reporting to itself. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And I have heard arguments for that for the longest while. So Clive have always been saying that. So Andy has always been saying that. Make the cricket committee a real cricket committee. And those are some of the things that they need to address and address urgently. A development program is required for our young cricketers, because I don't think that enough attention is paid to their overall development. They need to be developed to become good cricketers. I don't think that happens now. They play a number of under 15, under 19 and so forth. But even so, what happens to them in between? A number of them have played at the world under 19 level, but some have faded away. Why has this happened? We have to look at all that. What is wrong? Why the top players in the under 19 competition at the world level have not materialized? Hedmire is one point. He played so well in that when he led the West Indies team. Now his cricket has gone, almost. So we need to address those. The cricket committee and the board need to sit and look at what's happening to cricket in the territories. For example, is there a primary or secondary school competition in all the islands? Is there a need for that sort of thing? We have under 15 years, but the under 15 can only come from the territories. And if the territories don't have the to build the competition to build that under 15, and if they don't have the program to develop the young cricketers, they're going to come to without the proper nurturing. So these are some of the things that they need to. They can still have talent scouts. They could still have people feeding information into the cricket committee and the selection committee. But if you have a selection committee, then you have people who, and they are normally the selection committee will watch all the first class matches and they would discuss players. I remember when I saw the on the selection committee, if we saw a player with talent and potential, when we met the next meeting, we will report that and ask the other selectors, when you see him, look at him closely, and then we'll discuss them again. That's how we came up with people like Chris Gale and Samuels and Hines and Sawa and those fellas. Those fellas came from that level, from that structure. But I don't understand what's happening now, where you have one man. The other thing is, I think it's too much on Sammy as a sole selector for all formats. There's no way he can handle that properly. There are different formats and the different instructions apply, and it's really hard on him. I don't know why they did that. Made him because Kohli wasn't doing a bad job at all. But those are the things that they address because they're talking about two-tier cricket, and if that's happening, then West Indies will probably fall in the second tier, and we have to watch that very carefully.
Yeah, Philo, it's not the first time that a West Indies cricket board, whatever it's called, has come up with a plan, a program that it wants to follow. In fact, there are reports going back to PJ Patterson, a number of people who have suggested a way forward. Yet we are still talking about it. I don't know if, I haven't followed it closely enough that if all of the recommendations that have been made over the decades, really, it's not years anymore, it's decades, have those things been implemented? And if not, I mean, why going again for this other kind of option? Is it something just to make as if they are doing something for it?
Tony, the only thing that I know that they've implemented is the extended terms for the president and vice president from 2 years to 3 years, and that caused a row because Barbados and Guyana did not want to support it, but then in the end, Barbados went along and supported that, and it went through. That is the only thing I've known, because there was a lot of reports sent in, and even about the size of Cricket West Indies board directors. You have 2 directors from each territorial board, and then you have about 4 or 5 non-voting directors. So you have a pretty big board, about 18 people, but not a lot of decisions are made. And I think that when you're looking at corrected measures, you've got to look at the problems. What has caused our cricket to drop to this low? There had to be signs, and we've increased prize money in first class cricket, and that still has not improved the standard of cricket or the quality of the cricketer. So what has to be done is that we need to get people who understands cricket and what is required at the level that we are looking at, and this is obviously test match cricket. What is required for players to be consistent performers at test match level? It is not a so-called come in and fix this now. This matter has to be done over a period of time. We've been quarreling and complaining. They even said the pitches were poor. So there's been a lot of stuff that Cricket West Indies have had to use. But I think they wait till last minute to then say, yes, let's go and do this or do that, and get sympathy from the public. I think there's one media report that the President Dr. Shallow is starting to blame CARICOM and starting to blame the governments about this demise. But I don't think that is the answer. The answer has to lie within the board. Decisions are made by CWI's cricket board of directors. So all these things that are happening is a reflection of the board, the incompetence or the weakness, I should say, of some of the board decisions. Because you can't have so many astute men giving you reports and very little is being done about the reports. And that is something that they need to address. They need to find the quality of those reports and extrapolate the good things and try to implement them for the better of West Indies cricket. We're at that junction now. We need better.
Now, it's the thing that we do all the time to talk about the poorness of the administration of West Indies cricket, coaches, etc., etc. But I want to lay some blame on the players themselves, especially the batsmen. You see test class batsmen from Hope to the captain and so many others with poor techniques, having played not only test cricket but the red ball cricket for years. And they're good. It was very visible in this series. Hope getting bowled between bat and pad all the time, etc., etc. As if there is no pride in the players themselves taking responsibility for their game. One man, the only significant innings that we had for the whole series was by King, and he got out poorly in the other innings. The players we must hold the players also to put their feet to the fire, as it were, for being responsible to develop their own game. Andre?
Well, the thing about it is the players have a beautiful distraction, and it's called the white ball format, meaning T20 and T10 cricket. So no one wants to take the time to develop the game and work at the game. Every spare opportunity, in my view, is to focus on playing or taking part in an event, a 2-week, a 3-week event, where you can earn. So I have no problem in guys obviously trying to make a proper living for themselves. Sportsmen have a short time frame in life, in work life. And of course, they want to make sure that they earn as best they can. The shortest format of the game affects the Caribbean in a major way. We do not have a large population of cricketers across the region. We are relatively a small population. And if you have 60, 70, 80% of our players not paying attention to developing their game as they should, we're going to be in big problem. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. And therefore, the boys and girls who are coming through the system, we must educate them and let them understand a little bit about our legacy, where we've come from. Yes, there are opportunities out there to earn significantly in franchise-type tournaments, but certainly, if they develop their game well from early, they can be successful in all formats that are being played at the moment. At this point in time, I think there's an over focus from our cricketers to look at the shortest format and to earn as quickly as they can, and they don't pay very much attention as they should to the game. Here comes Reds, I believe.
Reds, you're on.
Yes, good afternoon. Sorry about the technical problems, but I don't want to rehash what you all have been saying, but basically, I certainly feel that they need to be. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead, Reds. You're on. Reds, you can keep talking while they fix the video. So go ahead.
Yes. Are you hearing me again?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Yeah, I think basically, I mean, after the disaster of yesterday, there at least must be changes. I don't know what the invitation to Brian Lara, Clive Lloyd, and Femi Richards is all about. because we've seen that and we haven't seen the action before. Lara was pulled in. We never saw the report. But initially, I would think that the board needs to change the batting coach. The batting coach is incapable of helping. The second recommendation is that the fielding coach, we dropped 13 catches. The fielding coach needs to be replaced. And the fitness coach, who's been there for 2 decades, needs to be replaced. That's the initial action that the board can do, at least to indicate that they are tackling the problem. I don't see them removing Darren Sammy at this point. I don't see them. I know there have been lots of calls to remove Darren Sammy, but certainly I think the batting coach, the fielding official, the fitness official, they should be changed. And the team going to Nepal should reflect real change. We should be investing in building immediately. It cannot be the same old. That's my quick reaction to what took place yesterday. I mean, difficult to see a big man cry, but I mean, it was an awful experience. That's my quick contribution. I'm sorry about the delay.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a moment, but let's mix it up again and let me hear fellow Wallace and Mike Findlay on this business of players taking responsibility. You reached to the test level. You've played all over the world in the franchise games, and you come to test cricket, and a basic thing is that you cannot get right about your batting. How do we begin to fix that? And I acknowledge that the coaches are responsible, but players, I'm trying to say in all of this that we have to have players who take responsibility for their own game. Philo?
Yeah, I agree, Tony. It used to happen years ago, and I still think it should be happening. You see, one thing we've missed is that ingredient called English cricket, where our batters particularly would have been playing cricket day in and day out to help them refine their game. It was a discipline to go and play county cricket or even league cricket. You play on weekends and maybe during the week, but county cricket particularly, you know that you're going to play at least 3 weeks of cricket for over a long period of time. Our modern day players, to me, don't seem to work hard enough at their individual games. They go into the nets, they want to use the bowling machine, they want to use a sidearm, they don't want the human being to bowl at them. And there's a lot of ifs and buts about which delivery to bowl. And you know, Tony and Mike and all of us here in this group, that when you're batting, you get a bouncer, you get a full toss, you get a length delivery, you get a yorker, you get all different types of deliveries, an in swinger, out swinger. So you have to practice that kind of batting skills to conquer any type of delivery that comes to you. At test match level, Mike have played as well, the bowlers are supposed to bowl good balls. So you look for bad balls to score from. If you watch the Australian bowling attack, our batters have a deficiency to the in-swinger. So what they decided to do, bowl the ball coming back in on the length or full, coming back into our batters. Our batters don't get behind the ball, they stay leg side. So they find themselves getting LBW or even bowl down. And Mike can tell you that when you get bowled down or LB as a batter, that means something is wrong with your defense. So the players themselves, the batters themselves, then have to go to the batting coach and say, look, coach, I want to work on defending the in-swinger. How can I protect my stumps and my pads from the ball coming in so that I can have something in defense when the Australians come to bowl at me? I know that I've worked on this area I can play and force them to do something different. But all of our batters are waiting for a half volley to hit through the offside. All of them, most of them are weak through the leg side. And the leg side used to be our strength as West Indian players. So we have turned a strength into a weakness. And obviously, we have not worked on the other deficiencies, which is protecting our stumps. So our batters become vulnerable. And if you look at it, the dismissals are repetitive. And we have an analyst, but our dismissals are repetitive. Our batters got out the same way. But yet we have an analyst, and our squads are selected on stats. Brendan McCallum, I've just told the analyst from the ECB in the England dressing room, please leave. You're hugging the cricketers, and there's too many of you in this room. Let the cricketers think for themselves. And I think that is what Cricket West Indies need to do. Our batters have to have the ability to think for themselves with the aid of some experienced players. I know Reds is saying, fire the batting coach, fire the fielding coach. They wouldn't trouble the head coach. But if you can fire Ronald Rogers, you can fire Raul Lewis, you can fire Byam, you can fire the whole lot. They've been there for a very long time too, Reds.
Okay.
So my thing is that we need to find a way to make our cricket better and how to get. I think that our senior players have to help in this crisis to help Rifa. I don't think they'll get rid of them. Help Rifa and Sammy, whoever else, to streamline a program to help our players. And I'm doing encompass our players, and that needs to happen. It cannot happen because we don't have the experience right now, and our players are just resting on their laurels. Clearly, they are.
Yeah. I remember an incident. Well, it was something that was happening over a period of time. And Larry Gomes, he was getting out, or he couldn't play on the offside. He was more like side player, or the other way around. I don't remember exactly. He wrote about it in his recent book, talking about change and all of that. And he recognized the deficiency in his play, and he took time out and went into the Lord's net, according to him, and sorted the problem out. I don't see players nowadays, they get out the same time. I talk about, Hope, goes forward, big space between bat and pad, and he gets bowled down all the time, or LBW. And the thing recurs, Michael. How do we get some energy into our own players to say that, you have to take responsibility. Yes, you have a coach. Yes, you have a board. But when you come down to the bottom line, it's the individual who has to do something.
Tony, it is how you get them to understand that. Obviously, they're not doing it. Like you said, too many of them are getting out the same way all the time. And they have analysts. They can look back at the videos and see how they get out and correct their errors in the nets. But every time you see them bat, they get out in the same fashion, as if they're not bothered about how they get out. And like the panel is saying, they need to take responsibility for their game, and they can only do that if they are committed to the cricket.
Right. And of course, if you display weaknesses as a batsman, the bowlers are looking on, and they have their analysts too, and therefore they're coming for you in the same way that they have got you out time and time again. Andre?
1998, I go way back, Queen's Park Cricket Club, we visited Australia for a 1-month tour, and we played at the SCG. And I remember what struck me then, this is 1998, gentlemen. So in coming into the stadium, we went past, of course, all the training facilities. They had the outdoor nets. They had a swimming pool where the players can do non-impact training. Then we entered the building. As we entered the building, each player for their great team, their top team, they had their own cubicle. In those cubicles, they had a whole range of these VHS tapes. Well, we don't have those anymore. But each of those contained video footage of all their first-class innings. And that was used to sit with an analyst in 1998 to work out how do they play when they are their best, and how, of course, they can analyze the mistakes that they make and address those mistakes. Again, I'll say this was 1998. So they used the opportunity then, the technology that they had then, to address their players' issues. And of course, the environment was a continuous environment of improvement and analyzing their game. Do we have something like that? Do we have persons working like that with our players in 2025? I would venture to say the answer to that is definitely no. We certainly have the technology, but do we have, first of all, persons who are competent enough to assist our guys properly? And do our guys put in the work? They've got to get them to understand. I take the point very well. They've got to understand that they've got to take a lot of responsibility for their performances and not just depend on training sessions when training sessions are called and so on, because you're never gonna make it. You're just not gonna play well enough.
Yeah.
But Andrew, what's the role of the cricket analyst? Isn't there a cricket analyst on the management team?
Yeah, there certainly is.
But
I can't tell you.
Isn't his role the same thing you're talking about there?
Yeah, but do they work with them? I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not in the environment. But away from the analyst, right there in the West Indies team, that's one man who lives on one island, and he will see them only on tours. What about what happens in between tours? You know, our players are paid. Many of our players are paid a retainer fee. Do we hire the right people? Do they take the money and hire the right people to assist them with their physical training, their batting technique, and every other aspect of the game? What is that money used for? And who's in charge on each island to check with these players to see that they're doing the work?
The thing is, Andre, is that you have franchise coaches, and that needs clarification. Because the franchise coaches are supposed to work with the franchise players, and I believe the contracted West Indies players. But as you rightly said, who is watching the watchman? Is there a structured program that when these guys come out of a series, do they have a structured program to go to Arnold's Vale or go to Kensington Oval and be supervised and be coached by whoever the franchise coaches are within the region, so they can continue the remedial work? Because they had a 10-day camp in Barbados, and everybody said it was fantastic. They practiced one day for 7 hours to give guys enough time to get they say miles in their legs, because I haven't played right ball career for a little while. Everybody was happy, honky-dory. The batters batted well, everybody was happy. But what happens before we get to the 10-day camp is the problem. And that is something that needs to be addressed, because you cannot prepare 10 days for 21 and for 15 intense days of test match cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I tell you what, Reza, I'm not eliminating you. I'm going to come back to you, but we need to take a break now to go back to the studio. And Sir Charles has a number of messages that he will give to our listeners and viewers wherever they are. So take over, Charlo, and we come back in a couple of minutes.
For 10 long years, we ruled the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming to an end. But down here, just a chink in the armor.
Wake up with the Net Radio Breakfast Show. Rise and shine with Wendell Stevens and Richard Raghubarsing, weekdays from 6 o'clock to 9 a.m. Start your day feeling good, energized, and informed as we tackle the biggest issues of the day, get you where you need to be on time, and keep you in the know about everything that matters. We bring you insightful discussions, expert analysis, and the latest updates so you're always ahead of the curve. Mornings matter. Your voice matters. And it all starts right here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio. The Net Radio Breakfast Show, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. Wake up informed and stay ahead.
Looking for trusted, affordable security and property services? Horatio Services has you covered across Trinidad and Tobago. We offer battle security, K9 patrols, 24/7 protection, and all sorts of private investigations, discreet, professional, and effective. But that's not all. We also provide construction from building to renovation. We bring your vision to life. Landscaping, keep your outdoors looking sharp and inviting. Maintenance, repairs, upkeep, and everything in between. At Horatio Services, you get professionalism, reliability, and personal care. Whether it's safety or property support you need, visit us at Marino Street, Arima, or call 388-7070 today. Horatio Services, protection, precision, peace of mind.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
Full discussions, the hottest topics, and some tracks to keep you moving. The DriveTime Exchange on NETT Radio, taking you above and beyond.
Rally round the West Indies, one forever.
Yes, we are rallying around the West Indies right here on New Era TT Radio on this afternoon's Drive Time Exchange with Tony Fraser and, of course, a lot of experts in between here, so we're happy to have them. People, you are listening to New Era TT Radio. You can get us on newerattradio.com on our website. You can also pick us up at New Era TT Radio on TuneIn, so you'll be able to get us on all your Alexa and Google devices. You can also tune in and pick us up on Facebook and YouTube, where we are at right now. Also, Instagram, and of course, we are also on TikTok. During the morning period between 6 and 8 a.m., you can get us on M&E TV, where we stream to a number of cable channels, including Digital, Amplier, Flow, and Tricore. So, yeah, you can get us. Just put us in your browser and look for New Era TT Radio, and you are sure to find us. All right, and we are back inside the Drive Time Exchange. Tony, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Charlo. As indicated, there really is no reason why you should not be looking and listening at us and to us on this new radio station, a completely online radio station. We don't have a residence, we don't have a library, we don't have all of the things that old radio stations used to have. I remember when I walked into stations like Radio Trinidad and 610 Radio, they were massive institutions with libraries and all kind of advertising departments, etc., etc. The economics of today. Yeah,
we had a huge engineering room.
Absolutely. And at Radio Trinidad, I'm trying to count the number of studios, 1, 2, 3, 4 studios, and along with a main studio where the news came out of people like, well, we don't need to go into all of this, but the modern day requires that we do something like this. So tune into us. We need, as Mark Senhouse used to say, Trinidadians will know about it. We need the money.
Yes, I was just about to say that. And you can advertise with us. So give us a call at 281-1315. Don't forget that. Yeah.
Without advertising revenue, we won't last very long.
No, we won't.
So we are trying something. Anyhow, back to the discussion. And I want to bring in Dr. Joseph Reds Perreira here to talk about attitudes of players. I remember some time ago, I think it was against South Africa at the Oval, we lost. We were chasing something like 250, 60 runs. I don't remember exactly how it is. And we faltered badly and lost. And when the game was finished, a number of the players, and I won't call names, a number of the players found themselves right after the game in the party stands. And I wondered, where were these fellas' minds? How could they have gone from such a defeat? And they threw away the game. I don't remember the details of it, but it was a total that was quite gettable. And instead of going to talk in the dressing room about failures and what they had to do, they found themselves in the party stand. So I put that down, Reds, to attitudes.
I put that down to poor management, because if you just lose a test match that badly, the manager should say, gentlemen, we will have a team meeting when we get back to the hotel, and we are leaving in 15 minutes. So if you have any family to go and talk to, not the party stand. And I remember that I was in Jamaica. But I want to go back to Philo and to Michael and to our former Trinidad star. We had a 3-week break. We talked about preparation. Philo talked about the 10 days camp that went very well. We had the 4-day competition. We had a 3-week break where the West Indies planners, thinkers, selectors could have used that period to hold 2 Headley and Weeks test trials. There was nothing like that. And I'm leading up to the whole question of the preparation. Michael, Philo, did you all feel that the camp was long enough and the preparation was good enough? And did we miss a trick by not, in fact, pulling the players after the break in the 4-day into some really competitive cricket so we could start to see the talent that we were hoping to bring against Australia?
You've got to remember too, Rez, that the camp came about because there was also a tour of Ireland and the UK. And the head coach, the batting coach, and the fielding and the bowling coach had to leave the tour after the England T20 series to rush down to Barbados to set up the camp.
Exactly.
And they left the T20 squad in the hands of the fielding coach to go up to Ireland. So when you look at the way how, that is why I believe it's too much on Sammy's plate. The juggling of personnel, moving from this country to another country to sort out guys for a test series, a very important test series as well. I don't think it was adequate enough. Because Australia were here playing, and again, to Reds, our A team against South Africa, it was a failure. If my memory serves me correctly, we lost every game in that series. So that is another downside to what is happening, because the A team is supposed to be those players who are coming up to test match level. But if you're getting beaten every game at the A team level, well, then your test match squad got a lot of work to do. And I just felt that we've included players that didn't bring a lot of value to such an important series. And I think that when we are selecting players, we need to, having camps, you need to intensify the camps. And I keep saying, we needed the experience. The camp was in Barbados. We should have asked some of our best former greats. They had Dr. the Most Honorable Desmond Haynes here. We have 4 openers. So 4 openers in a 16-man squad is telling me, I'm not too certain about my opening batters. So let me bring in Desmond Haynes to have a session or 2 sessions. It's not taking away anything from Floyd Reefer, but you're just having them there to consult, add some advice, to let them know what is expected in a series against Australia. And I think those are the things that camps should be doing, where you bring in the expertise to help just add more muscle to what you're doing within that camp. And I think that was not done. Everything was on the shoulders of the head coach and the batting coach and fielding coach, all the practice sessions by Kensington Oval. And I think that just did not lend right and blend in right to the environment and the atmosphere. I prefer to see Cricket West Indies teams practice at a club where the spectators can come and view them and get intimate with them. Watch the guys go through their drills, familiarize themselves with the players. So when the actual match day comes, these people will come down and support them because they feel a part of them because they've watched them. And I think that is something that Cricket West Indies needs to look at in order to sensitize the public. Look, we're not isolating you. We are asking you to come and make this an environment that is conducive to all players to feel at home. Because I think that some of our players don't feel at home even though they're playing the Caribbean. So you need that mental as well preparation to help them in the test in the coming series. Because we play Nepal in Sharjah, T20, and then we go to India. And we're not going to get friendly conditions in India. And then we're here to hear that we're going to have another camp before the series in India. So the camps, to me, have to be specialized and have the muscle in them to get the players to understand what is expected.
Yeah.
I just
Philo
want to
raised...
go back to the question I asked Michael. The same question I asked in Philo. Did we misuse the break in the 4-day competition to do some real development work?
But the break race in the first class season has to come down to the franchise coaches. Because don't forget, the franchise coaches, they have a role to play in developing our cricketers. I don't know how much work was done in the 3-week break. Some players said that enjoyed the break. I know Jason Mahalis have a purple patch until the break, but some players said that they enjoyed the break. But what did they do? I can't tell you. In a break like that, you still need to engage the players in cricket skills. Because we had Jonathan Drakes from Barbados who started well, and after the break, he just went to pieces. He couldn't score a run. So sometimes you got to look at breaks, the importance of breaks to some players, because every player is different. But I think that in that 3-week break, more cricket development skills should have happened for the franchise players. So when they restart, it is just topping up and moving straight on because of the test series looming. But I don't know what happened in that break, that 3-week break for those franchise players.
Very good point.
Well, Philo raised a very important point, which I think about my own watching cricket. I was a second-class cricketer who could, if I make 20, I make plenty. I'm happy with that. But I was a great watcher of test cricket. And what Philo talked about was people involvement in the cricket. When I was a young fella, and me and my friends going to cricket in the test cricket in the Oval, we getting down there at 5 o'clock in the morning. People all over the place, people involved, they're interested and so on. Now, when you go to the Oval sometimes, and I see it on the video almost everywhere, as there are a couple of hundred people in the stands watching test cricket. In the period of the 60s that I am talking about, if you didn't get down there early, you simply couldn't find a seat either in the schoolboy stands or in the grounds. The big shots who went into the stands, I was not one of them. They could always pay for a good ticket, but to go on the grounds, you had to be there early. So Philo makes the point, Andre, about getting people involvement. A lot of people have lost their enthusiasm for West Indies cricket. How do you rekindle that kind of support?
Well, the thing is, the players also have one of the reasons for that is also that of course, the longer version teams are not winning. Secondly, the players have, for me, they've lost a lot of flair that was very much a part of West Indies cricketers. And you see different types of players with their own styles, their beautiful styles and natural styles of play from every territory. That was a beautiful thing to watch. I think a lot now the players are quite robotic, and they don't give you that sense that they are a natural cricketers. They have to force themselves to play in a particular way, and for that, I think we've headed in the wrong way. How they've developed that way is difficult for me to say, but that's simply what I see at the moment. I'm in full agreement in the players being in and among persons watching. I remember running away from school as quickly as I can when I knew the West Indies cricket team was on the island, getting down to the Queen's Park Oval, standing up and watching them there for hours and just hoping that they would say, okay, youngster, come and bowl a few. because some of the players would stay back even after the main session, and they'd want a few throwdowns and stuff like that to ensure that they get enough practice in before the big matches start. So certainly, I think that is something that's warranted, and I fully support that sort of thing to get the people again back in touch with the game, and especially the longer version of the game.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I think the clock is ticking. It's 5:17. There's so much to be discussed. We have to look at the 16 they selected for the series against Australia. Maybe that could be a discussion point. I was surprised that Jason Holder was not in that 16. That's the point I'm making to start the discussion. What Philo thought about the 16? What Michael thought about the 16? Did we pick the best 16?
The 16-man squad, Reds, when you look at it, Jason Holder didn't go to Pakistan. I don't know what is the cloud over Kalmir's head, because Kalmir's too is a very good cricketer, and I think that he should be around West Indies cricket in all three formats. I don't know what is the reason why he's not there. When you look at Justin Graves, there's a matchup between Justin Graves and Jason Holder. So the event with Justin, because obviously he's the one that was in Pakistan, and he wasn't too bad a player in Pakistan. They decided to go with him. I don't know if Jason Holder has showed the interest to play red ball cricket again. I know he played 2 games for Barbados before he went off to play white ball cricket. So the thing is, the discussions around if Jason is really keen on playing red ball cricket or fully committed to red ball cricket. But 4 openers, I think that was a bit too much. That 4 openers was telling me that you're not certain. Because when you look at it, John Campbell, Craig Brathwaite, Michael Louis, Brandon King. You have 4, but Brandon King slotted at number 4. And you had Casey Carty at number 3. Obviously, he was going to start Casey Carty because of his form coming out of England. And that is something that we have to look at. Because a man score hundreds in England and Ireland in white ball cricket, don't mean he can score runs against Australia by at number 3. It's a different ball game, different bowling attacks, different conditions, and the pitches are certainly different. Casey Carty is one for the future, yes, but Casey Carty has a fundamental problem that he don't cover the stumps. He plays from on top of the crease. I don't know because of his height, but he doesn't go into the ball. So he will find himself being nicked off a lot to slip and wicketkeeper because he doesn't cover the line of ball. But these are things that can be seen and work on. Then you have Michael Louis, to me, who has not really improved as an opener, sorry to say. He has not improved. He gets out the same way. He bats the same way. But this is a man who scored 500 runs a year ago in our cricket. So obviously he would have been in the 16-man squad. John Campbell is obviously has reasserted himself. Then you had Shea Hope, Imlat, Roston Chase captain. I thought that Imlat could have kept wicket and Shea Hope plays a batter, but they went for Shea Hope as the batter and kept, obviously there was no Imlat. And then you had Kevlon Anderson, as I said earlier, Rez, you weren't here. He scored 500 runs in our competition. Everybody's pumping for him, similar to Michael Louis. But when you see him at that smash level, you can't believe that's the man that scored 500 runs in the first class season. So there's a big gap between first class and test cricket. And then the bowlers, Anderson Phillip, obviously their bouts a hard try. I'm not really impressed with him. He has not really stood out as any great fast bowler. Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph obviously spearhead the attack along with Jaden Seals. But I think that Anderson Phillip is neither here nor there to me as a fast bowler. I don't think he brings anything extra to our fast bowling quartet. We just drop him to play Warwick in Jamaica, where the Australians dropped Nathan Lyons to play Scott Boland. So they went opposite to what we were doing. And Warwick obviously is the vice captain. And we saw from the first test match that it was going to be a problem to fit Warwick into the playing 11. But he's vice captain, and we believe that a vice captain must play. So when he got dropped in Grenada, every person started to say, well, why you drop the vice captain? So you have to find someone to drop for him to play in Jamaica. But he played in Jamaica with little effect. So you miss out Anderson Phillip. I think we have to find a nucleus of players, Rez. We don't know. The A team, as I said, was a failure. So not a lot can be said or brought from the A team. And I thought that more of our grit should have been in that A-team setup to help them to understand the cricket. So the A-team has failed us. So we are back now at the academy to see where we can get our players from. Because we have to go back to the academy now to look at our players, because the A-team players were failures. And it was sad that Joshua De Silva has been dismissed in the manner in which he has been dismissed, because now Shea Hope is not even matched up as a wicketkeeper batter. Mm-hmm. So if you put Imla in now and you bring back Joshua De Silva, you're going to have a standing keeper who is 28, and the reserve is going to be 26, who was a former vice captain. So they've messed up everything because of the policies and the selection of the squads. So the 16-man squad to me was not the right balance. Too many openers, and you could have gone with an extra batter, or even a better choice in batters. I think Hodge got on-field. I think Hodge should be in that squad. Ale Antonaz is a toss-up between my right hand and my left hand about him. I would like to see more stability for him, and he feeling the A-team as well. So there's a lot of not so good things happening with our cricket in order to choose in squads. Yes. So they're picking the best guys available.
On the question of attitude, if we think of our three leading fast bowlers who have done so well in this series, and indeed in the series leading up to this one, they display an attitude on the field about commitment, about intelligence, about knowing where to bowl, etc., and all of those basic elements of the game, which are missing in our batsmen. Incidentally, I can't bring myself to say that new word that they describe batsmen with. I'm probably just of the old school. How can these fellas develop this attitude that is so absolutely missing amongst our batsmen? Any responses?
Well, let's look at a little bit as to what happened between, say, Australia in Brisbane when we were successful to now. People talk about the fast bowlers have done well. But why have they done well? First of all, these were young men that showed tremendous promise coming through the system, did well in Brisbane, as we know. But since then, Shamar Joseph has been very much involved with the IPL franchise team, working along, not playing much, but working along with the coaching staff there on doing his work. And you had Anderson Phillip and Jaden Seals playing county cricket. So that's one area of development that they've been through that you can say helped with their success. The second part to add to that equation is the introduction of the new bowling coach, the Trinidadian fast bowler, former fast bowler, the name is Ravi Rampal. So Ravi Rampal came into the setup, and I noticed a particular difference in at least one player, a significant difference. If you notice, Alzari Joseph bowling in this series, Alzari Joseph is a guy who can bowl fast, he can move the ball a bit, and so on. But he'll just glide into the crease. And everybody'd wonder for a long time, what's going on with Alzari? Why is he not doing better? If you notice in this series, he was absolutely racing into the crease, a lot more aggressive, hitting that crease very hard. And it showed up a significant difference, if you ask me, in how he performed. So what we've done, we've taken the players that showed promise. They've been doing work, say, in county cricket, and of course work now with Ravi Rampal, probably someone who knows what he's doing. And it's had a significantly great effect, positive effect. What have we done with all the batsmen since Brisbane? We've gotten rid of them. That's exactly what we've done. We've brought in other guys, the Shea Hopes, the Ruston Chases, we brought Campbell back into the fray, and so on, and we can go on. So we've not, the new head coach, his philosophy is not take what you've got and make it better. It's get rid of what we've been doing and working with and working and improving and growing in the last couple of years, get rid of them, and you bring in a new crop of players who've not been successful, very, very successful at first-class cricket in the first instance, in Test cricket, and allow those guys to come in and expect them to do better. I think that was absolute folly. I don't understand the thinking behind it. Reds, I think it might have been Michael earlier on, Mike Findlay talking earlier on about the type of shots that were displayed. I think that's also coming from the head coach and wanting them to play in a particular style. He talks about players that have certain roles and he wants them to play in a particular way. You know, what about adapting to the scenario in the match? Isn't there that level of thinking that belongs in a game of cricket anymore? So again, I think the process was wrong. The tactical way things were addressed was incorrect. And we've ended up where we are with a 3-0 loss.
Reds, you want to come in here?
Well, I think we should really start focusing on what can we expect the board to do. They are invited Brian Lara, Clive Lloyd, and Sir Vivian Richards. Are they going to take what they will suggest, point out, I wouldn't say demand, but ask for? Are we going to see any real changes? Are we going to see really any changes? Because, I mean, somebody has got to be accountable. I mean, you don't make 27 runs. I mean, that really hurts, you know, that really hurts. Okay, so we are about to go to Nepal. How do we link what we do in Nepal, who we take to Nepal, in terms of building something that will be competitive in India? Philo?
I don't. They're not going to Nepal. I think they're going into. I think they're playing Nepal in Sharjah in T20 cricket. I don't think we're going up to Nepal. I think Nepal, they're going to meet Nepal in Sharjah for those 3 T20 games. My take, Reg, is do we have a test series against India straight after Nepal? And with this meeting with the 3 greats, now that the test series is over, I think we've come too late with the 3 greats anyway. The 3 greats that have been involved from the camp, but you know it is from West Indies cricket. They wait to the last minute. The key is what impact will these 3 greats have on that cricket committee, and with recommendations, if any, to move our cricket in the right direction at the short possible time. Because this three World Test Championship matches that we've been beaten badly within 3 days, that calls for a lot of discussion and a lot of acceptance of the wrong. Because you're losing Test match in 3 days, something is wrong. But you need to accept that something is wrong first in order to correct it. And then if these three legends or icons, the recommendations that they give, will these recommendations be passed on to the head coach who will then look to implement? Will the head coach, I don't think the head coach should be at this meeting anyway because it's a T20 series against Australia. But will these recommendations get to the head coach? And then is he expected to implement or even chat with these 3 gentlemen? Because I believe that Sammy has the right to speak with these 3 gentlemen when that meeting is called. He should find the time to speak to them. We have Zoom. I speak to them and get his feedback. Because you got to remember, Reds, that we lost 6 games in England, and Dr. Donovan Bennett, who's the head of our medical panel, said that Sammy had control of the dressing room. And he was very impressed with how Sammy controlled the dressing room. And we lost 6 games. So we've now lost 3 games against Australia. I would like to know what kind of control is in that dressing room now, because that dressing room is deflated.
We lost one in Ireland as well, Philo.
Yeah, but 7. Yeah, but I deal with
just being picky.
Yes, yeah. So we've lost 10 games, but I'm talking about on the bunks, we've lost 9. That dressing room has to be deflated, and we have not even heard who are the members of the T20 squad to play against Australia.
Yeah, you know, earlier, Reds, before you joined us, we talked extensively about the establishment of this team with the 3 and a few others, and we came to the conclusions that it's not going to be the first time. These kinds of interventions have gone on for the last 20, 25 years. Report after report has been put on the table, and they have all come to naught in terms of implementation. I think Philo was the one who recognized that there was a kind of tongue-in-cheek recognition, as that there was one recommendation that they adhere to, and that was to increase the number of years that the board will stay in place. So those kinds of things, we've gone through that over and over again. Let me read something that Dinanath Ramnarayan, I asked him to be on the program this afternoon, but he couldn't be. But he sent me something that he has written. I'm just going to read a couple paragraphs of his conclusions. Of course, he talks about all of the things that we've been talking about and others have been talking about for a long time. His statement: unless the entire structure is dismantled and rebuilt on merit, integrity, and purpose, we are not on our way back to the top of the world cricket. We are digging ourselves deeper into irrelevance. And those who allowed it, both those who who acted and those who enabled them to act, must be held accountable. So in Dinanath Ramnarayan's notion, we have to break down the structure and rebuild. Incidentally, I haven't seen Mike Findlay in a little while. He must have gone off for a little while. Mike, if you're hearing us, we welcome you back. Responding to this notion of breaking down the system to reconstruct it, how do we do that? Or is that something that is worthwhile doing? Andre?
Well, certainly, I've always been an advocate for development. I'm a development type person, and my eyes are always on that. And to see where we have a scenario with youth cricket I'd say right here in Trinidad, no primary schools cricket, and you see that our youth teams in particular don't do very well in regional tournaments. It tells you that there might be a situation where there's the environment to develop the youngsters here is lacking. And I think that you may find that that is the scenario probably in most territories. And if that is the case, it tells you that, and when you look at all the different boards from the various territories, in my view, from my memory, it tells you that it's the same board that's been there for maybe the last 20 years. We've been failing for 20 odd years. So isn't that a possibility that it's linked? They say that you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect change. So unfortunately, while many persons from around the region and the existing boards the boards that exist, they may have very, very good, well-meaning personnel. Unfortunately, I don't see where they've been very successful, and not enough young people with good ideas are being injected into the sport at all levels, even at administration and coaching levels. And I would like to see change to be effected from that angle.
Reg Perreira?
Well, fellow said we were playing Nepal in Sharjah. Are we going to carry the same T20 squad players with fellow? Is this an opportunity to look at some of the young T20 talent and bring about a freshness to it against the same old? What do you think, fellow? The T20 should look like?
Well, I don't know what the T20 will look like, Reds. To be honest, we just had a squad in England and Ireland. We've got to play Australia first and then Pakistan. Pakistan wants to change from 50 over series to T20. That is left to be seen. So
No, they have said no. West
Okay,
Indies
good.
have said no.
Good. So the thing is that I have to first see what the T20 squad against Australia looks like, and then I could comment on the squad that will go down to Sharjah. But my thing is that around the rang and breaking down. But if you break it all down, what are you going to rebuild it on? It's all right to say break down, but what are we going to rebuild it on? Andrea has just alluded that schools cricket in Trinidad and Tobago is not as good as it used to be. I'm putting myself in the race to be president of the Barbados Cricket Association coming April 12th, and that meeting is had in Barbados at the St. Leonard's Secondary School. And we're looking to grow, we're looking for change. We're looking for a new direction in Barbados cricket. And by extension, obviously, do the right things in Barbados so that then we can go at CWI to CWI and make a contribution. I think that Barbados' voice has been very quiet at the regional level, and we are the ones who have to go there and make a stand. Trinidad and Tobago, their cricket is stuck, I believe, because there's a lot of stuff going on at the TCCB that needs to be ironed out. And I will hope people like Andre Lawrence and Zaire Ali and those young boys get up and make a stance. I am doing it in Barbados because I think it's time for change. We have administrators sitting for 25 years in a field product, but still want to be administrators. I think the territorial board presidents need to go. And I'm very serious about that. I let the young people who are willing to come on board and take the cricket forward with new ideas and new implementations and honesty and integrity, and taking the cricket to new height, because the young cricketers of this era are not respecting the administrators. And the administrators are not respecting the cricketers of the tug of war. We have to have common grounds in which to build anything on. And at the moment, we don't have common ground within our territorial boards and our cricket. Our cricket is still divided, and that is something that needs addressing. And I hope that it will be addressed sooner rather than later, because we are actually in a pickle. And I know Mike spoke about the two-tier system. I don't like to speak about it, because if you're going to play two-tier cricket, two-tier test match cricket, you know which tier West Indies will be in. Zimbabwe just played England in a 4-day test match at Trent Bridge. First time they've played in England for a very long time, but they played 4 days and they lost. West Indies just lost 3 test matches within 3 days. So when you talk about two-tier system, automatically West Indies will be in the second tier. And you're looking at a team that controlled world cricket for 18 years. And that would sink the boat of Sir Vaisal, Sir Clive Lloyd, Sir Andy Roberts, Sir Vivian Richards, all those great pioneers, those great cricketers who work hard, blood, sweat, and tears for West Indies cricket. To see West Indies cricket come to this juncture, where they're in the second tier of international cricket. And I was listening to Ravi Shastri the other day. He said, well, the Indians' time now is now to make all the money, because the other nations, when they were ruling, would have made the money. But yeah, West Indies Cricket Board continues to grapple with finances. So we ruled the rules for 18 years, but we didn't make a lot. And we used to help those teams when we were great. We used to go to India and Pakistan a lot. And now that we are struggling, we are hardly getting the recognition of helping those tiers. The goodwill is gone. So it's a dog-eat-dog world, and that is what CWI and the players need to understand. You need to win at all costs, and that is why I like Ben Stokes as a captain. He bowled himself into the ground to win, because he knows the importance of winning. It is test match points, it is getting to play in the finals, and then an opportunity to win $3.5 million US. That is what is come about now, and that is how we have to think in the West Indies. If we want people to represent our cricket and sponsor our cricket, our cricketers need to start winning at all costs.
Gentlemen, there is a cynical view that I have heard on a number of occasions and from different persons. Actually, 2 such views. The first one has to do with, look, West Indies cricket went through a couple periods, a few periods, going back to the early 1950s, the 1960s with Frank Worrell, and then, of course, the golden era under Lloyd and Richards and so on. And that was a flash in the pan. Maybe that is not the phrase that they use, but that's the meaning of it. We were fortunate in a period of time, and we were supported. Somebody talked earlier about county cricket, both in England and state cricket in Australia. And we did well with some genius players. We have to realize, so the thinking goes, that those players are no longer amongst us. We don't have that kind of talent and zeal and enthusiasm and attitudes very important anymore. So we just have to settle for being where we are. Andre?
Settling for, but where we are, sorry, you just phased out there a little bit there, Tony.
Yeah,
sorry.
I am saying that those were great periods that we experienced, back in the 50s, 60s, and the era with Lloyd and Richards and so on. And those were not reflective of the kind of talent, the kind of structure that exists. Every country, England, Australia, had their periods of being down on the ground, but they had the oomph, the structure, the ability, the attitudes to rebound. And the thinking goes, look, we just don't have that. We have to settle for having had great periods, and we are back to normal now amongst the lower levels of test teams.
Well, maybe it's a question of those who have been in charge of leading the fight. The ones who have been charged with the responsibilities to develop the right environment to grow and develop the game, starting with our regional boards. That is where probably we may have gone wrong for a very long time, and it's just stuck in a vicious cycle. There have been no changes there, and that's what I've said. There have been no changes there, and maybe that is where we start. You have a scenario in Trinidad where your constitution of the board, before you even strike a pen, they've got 50% of the votes already sorted out, and the constitution will not change. And we've asked for change here in Trinidad and Tobago for a very long time, and it's gone on deaf ears. And election come election, it's just the same old story, the same person, same personnel. And again, we're stuck in a vicious cycle. If these things don't change, this is what
a couple of them, Andre, have been elevated now to the regional board.
Yeah, and that's where we are. You might be a good politician and so on, but that is fine. But does that mean that you can manage the sport and grow the sport? That's another question altogether.
Yeah. Philip, your response?
But the thing is that, can you just repeat the question, sorry?
The question is that we had a few epochs of brilliant players. If we look at it, the 1950s team, the 3Ws, Ramadan, etc., brilliant players. And then Frank Worrell came and made a whole difference to the talent. And then Clive Lloyd came. We forget that we were drenched under Clive Lloyd by Australia. And then he said something has to change, and he changed and so on. Maybe the cynical view is that we have to settle for these periods of glory. We're not an Australia that is structured to win and to conquer.
But Australia used to be dung in the dumps as well. But they've rebranded their cricket. They play their cricket the way how we used to play our cricket. We had the building blocks from the 1950s, and we had the integrity of good leaders to recognize the building blocks and continue to build right up to the Clive Lloyd era. Sir Vivian Richards as well took over, and we had some success under him. But after that era, a bit of Sir Richard Richardson, but after that era, we just fell apart because we did not build on what the legacy that we had. We rest on our laurels, thinking that a 6'7" boy on the street is going to bowl fast, and that was not the case. So we never put things in place for development, and that is why I keep coming back to territorial boards. The territorial boards have to develop the cricketers for Cricket West Indies, from the school structure straight into the club structure, into the national teams that they call them franchises now, and into West Indies cricket. So the territorial boards have to pay more attention to development and not just go to Cricket West Indies meetings and sit and make no decisions about what they're going to be doing in relation to regional and territorial cricket. And I think that is where the crux of the matter is. How important is it to the territorial boards to bring through the cricketers that are capable of representing us at the international level? Don't forget, Tony, that there's no England to go to. There's no Australia to go to. Our players will go to England and maybe play in the hundreds. But we don't want our players to play in the hundreds. We want our players to play county cricket, because we're looking at test match cricket as the ultimate cricket that we want to get our players accustomed to. And if you look at our junior cricket from CWI, our under-19s are playing white ball cricket in St. Kitts and Nevis. The under-15s play only white ball cricket. And I believe that the under-15s and the under-17s should not be playing white ball cricket unless there's a ICC cricket, Youth Cricket, Youth World Cup. Other than that, I think our junior cricketers should be playing more red ball cricket to hone their skills and get them into the habits of batting long, so that if you develop good batting habits from a junior age, by the time you get 20, you're into those good habits and you're scoring runs. But because we're feeding the death of white ball cricket, our young players no longer knows how to play bat properly. They can't get a single. They can't play extra cover drive. They don't have the patience to sit down on 4 balls. They're looking to score for every ball. So the development of our cricketers and the development of our cricket has been lacking. And that is something that CWI and the territorial boards need to address.
Well, Philo,
one of the points that I'm pursuing. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
Just to support Philo's point, a few years back, I also taught as a head coach for it was a team selected by Tony Harford, God rest his soul, and Bruce Anansi was also part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Joshua De Silva is one of the youngsters that came through on that tour. So too, the left-arm spinner NETT all went to New Zealand. And the interesting thing on that tour, to support exactly what Philo was saying about youngsters' development, it was an under-17 tour. So most of the boys were 15 or 16 years old. And I had the opportunity to meet with a lot of national, New Zealand national under youth coaches from right across the country. And you know, what surprised me is that their system evolved around their youngsters, let's say from age 8, 9, 10, 11. They don't even play limited overs cricket. They play time cricket over 2 days. So where the kids from even that early age, they are forced to think about how they're going to develop an innings. They got to come back the next day. They can actually declare an innings closed and have the other team start to bat the following day if necessary. And only the youngsters that got to age 18, which was the age where they can play club cricket, only then they were allowed to play T20 cricket. So between the ages of 11 all the way through till 17, 18, they're developing their game on a longer format of the game. They only play red ball cricket. Only when they get to club cricket, they can start playing T20 or the shorter version of the game. How competitive is New Zealand now? And what kind of pockets do they have? Their pockets aren't deep. They don't have the wealth of countries like India, South Africa, not South Africa really, sorry, England and Australia. But certainly, they're one of the most competitive teams in all formats. Yeah. And I think it's because of structure, attitude, what they've done, what they've designed their cricket, how they've developed their cricketers, and they're doing it with very, very little resources. Mm-hmm. What are we doing?
Yeah, Reds, you wanted to say something here on this business of getting the individuals into focus.
Well, I think Philo mentioned the club structure. When we dominated the world in the 50s, when we beat India in 49, beat England in 48, won in England in 50, etc., the club structure was much stronger. I think Philo, growing up as a boy, can say how strong a club Spartan was. The club structure in the Caribbean is not as strong as it was in that period. The period of intercolonial cricket in October in Guyana, I saw as a boy, the clubs were extremely strong. People were practicing 3 times a week at the clubs. What's the real situation, Philo, with the club structure in Barbados now?
Well, the club structure has diminished, Rez, because when you look, I could use Spartan as an example. I don't think they will mind. They don't have the peripheral of Barbadian cricketers like we used to. coming out of the club of the Spartan. The club cricket is not as strong as it used to be. Spartan has been demoted from elite cricket to Division 1 cricket. We're leading right now. We have 95 points on 5 games, but we haven't played red ball cricket since May. Spartan will play red ball cricket. The next red ball game is September the 13th. There hasn't been any cricket in Barbados for the last 3 to 4 weeks. Then there's the hype of the summer because the sun is setting at 6:45, and there haven't been any cricket. There have been no top flight cricket. There's just been second division semi-finals and finals. Now this weekend, they're going to restart the 50 over cricket, but they're only going to have one round before they break for crop over. So they've had a peripheral of white ball cricket, and the red ball has gone to the side for the next 3 months. And that is the issue in Barbados cricket. All that needs to be ironed out because there's no way in the world that in Barbados, particularly, is the middle of the summer and there's no top flight cricket being played. And that is the crux of the matter. And they seem to have these breaks because of West Indies Test cricket. But West Indies Test cricket have been playing at home for a long time, and we used to play cricket. And the tickets were being given away at $10, and nobody really went to watch them. So why break cricket for people to just sit down and do nothing? So the structures of the club has changed, the season has changed, and then there's a lot of bonus points which are meaningless to some of the teams. Because Sparta was in a game against a final T20 game 4 weeks ago, and when the competition started, they had a semi-final, quarter-final, semi-final, and finals. They only played 5 games. After the third round, Barbados Cricket Association said there's no quarter-final matches. You go semi-finals and finals. So the fifth and final game between Spartan and Wildy would have been a quarter-final clash. But because it had no meaning, the players just went through the motions. All these are things that are devaluing cricket in Barbados. There's no longer that attitude to win game because it's just another cricket match. And that is where we need to get back to, our winning ways and our habits in cricket. And again, right, before you cut in, Tony, our international players don't play a lot of local cricket for their clubs. And that is another problem. Because when the international players are at home, I believe they should be representing their clubs because the people will want to see them because they're the international cricketers. And that is something that the territorial boards need to work on. When these international players come home, you have to play local cricket and lift the standard.
I want to say, and this is my point of view, that I agree with the structure and the membership on the plane and so on. But, you know, I have looked at and read West Indies cricket and its resurgence time and again. And there has always been an individual that has sparked something amongst our cricketers, amongst our teams. The reality is there. Frank Worrell, Clive Lloyd, Viv Richards, the individuals are important with all of the structuring that is there. Their needs, our history has shown that a significant individual has stood out, and the boards have not done very well in that respect. Remember the board, the attitude of the boards, not only here, to Kerry Packer and the professionalization of West Indies cricket led by Clive Lloyd on this company. So I base my argument on that. There has to be an individual who will arise and take us forward. Your last comments, gentlemen?
I think one must realize, and it's a very sad admission. I mean, when Philip Wallace and Michael Findlay was a young man, 12 out of 10 boys wanted to play for St. Vincent, wanted to play for the Windward, wanted to play for Empire, Sparta, wanted to play for Barbados. Society has changed totally. Technology has taken over the lives of young people. Young people hardly listen to the sport news, as I have found out. People have so much more options than we had when we, growing up as colonial territories, we played cricket and football and maybe one or two other minor sports, track and field. But now there are so many options for young people that we have lost that cadre of boys that we used to have going, and that's a fact of life. People are
okay. Sorry, Reds, but we have to break out in a moment. So I want to give both Andre and Philo 30 seconds as we shut down this program today.
Tony, I just hope that. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
Any one of you, go ahead.
Okay. Well, the thing about it is I look forward to the next series and the level of preparation that's done for it. If we remember that successful series in Brisbane and look at what happened prior to the series, several of the players were down in South Africa playing in an 8-team series. Joshua Da Silva was the captain there, and Shamar Joseph was actually quite successful down there before he came up into Australia. And the rest of the team, they actually went to Australia several weeks before, acclimatized. The fielding was brilliant on that tour, even though we lost the first test. The catching was excellent. And of course, it remained that way into the second test. And we won and became, and we drew the test series. So I'm looking forward to seeing better preparation for our series coming up to India. I'm looking very much to see what they do.
Philo, your 30 seconds.
Well, obviously, we have a short window to prepare for India. It's going to be important to see how well we bounce back from this drubbing against Australia. And I want to hear what are the recommendations from those great West Indian cricketers in that meeting. And if CWI will implement those recommendations to help push our cricket or strengthen our cricket to move forward.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Reds Perreira, Michael, Findlay, Andre, and of course, Philo, for being with us and giving, I hope, some hope to us West Indians that something will happen magically. Thanks again, gentlemen. Sir Charles.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony, and of course, thank you very much to all our guests inside of this afternoon's DriveTime Exchange right here on New Era TT Radio. Of course, the rerun of the program is tomorrow morning at 8:20 a.m.